Do you snore? Or maybe you wake up feeling like you haven't slept a wink, even after a full 8 hours. You might just write it off, right? Just a bad night's sleep. But what if that snoring, that constant exhaustion, what if they're actually clues to a much, much deeper problem? Today, we're going to dig into sleep apnea. It's this surprisingly common and pretty serious condition that most people don't even know they have. And the solution? Well, it might be hiding right in front of our faces.
Okay, so let's dive right in, because the first step is just recognizing that there might be a problem. And sleep apnea isn't just one thing. It's a whole collection of symptoms that can mess up your entire day, not just your night.
So take a look at this list. Does any of this ring a bell? That feeling of being completely wiped out even after what you thought was a full night's sleep? Waking up with a throat that feels like sandpaper? Those morning headaches or that brain fog that just refuses to clear? These aren't just little annoyances. These are your body's warning flares, signaling that something is fundamentally wrong with how you breathe when you're supposed to be resting.
So what is actually happening here? Well, at the very heart of it is this word apnea. And let's be clear, this is not just holding your breath. This is a complete, involuntary shutdown. Your airway literally collapses, and for 10 seconds or more, you're getting almost zero air. Your body is, for that moment, being starved of oxygen.
And then you've got apnea's little brother, or maybe its annoying cousin, hypopnea. Now here, you're still technically breathing, but it's incredibly shallow. Your airflow is cut way down, and your blood oxygen levels start to drop. It's like your body is trying to run a marathon through thick mud all night long, just struggling to get the air it needs to survive.
So how do doctors even measure how bad this is? Well, they use something called the Apnea-Hypopnea Index, or AHI for short. It's pretty simple. It's just the average number of times you stop breathing or have shallow breathing per hour. Now, under 5 is considered normal, but look at the severe category. If you're having more than 30 of these events an hour, that's 1 every 2 minutes, your body is in a state of constant suffocating stress all night long.
We tend to blame the usual suspects, right? Being overweight, getting older. And yeah, those can play a role. But what if the real root of the problem for millions of us is actually anatomical, a fundamental change that has happened to the human face over just the last few hundred years?
Now get ready for this, because this one fact from our source material is just mind-blowing. Researchers who study ancient human skulls found something pretty incredible. Just 400 or 500 years ago, things like sleep apnea and crooked teeth were almost non-existent. So, what in the world happened?
And here is the why. It's fascinating. Our ancestors, they were eating tough, chewy foods, roots, tough meats, fibrous plants. And that constant chewing was like a workout for their face, building wide, strong jaws with plenty of room for all their teeth. But then, our diet changed. We moved to soft, processed foods. And since we stopped giving our jaws that workout, they didn't develop the same way. They got smaller, narrower, and set further back. And here's the kicker. With less real estate in your mouth, where does your tongue go when you lie down to sleep? It falls back, and boom, it blocks your airway.
Okay, so a smaller airway, a few breathing pauses. You might still be thinking, what's the big deal? But this nightly battle for oxygen puts an absolutely immense strain on your entire body, and it leads to some incredibly serious health problems. Just look at this number, 80%. That means for 8 out of 10 people whose high blood pressure cannot be controlled by medication, the real problem isn't their heart. It's their sleep. Every time they stop breathing, their brain hits the panic button and floods their system with stress hormones to jolt them awake. Now imagine that fight or flight alarm going off hundreds of times a night. It's no wonder their cardiovascular system is under constant attack. And the danger doesn't stop there. Sleep apnea doesn't travel alone. It brings a whole crew of dangerous friends along with it. The connection to these other conditions is just staggering. Look at the massive overlap with heart failure, with stroke, with atrial fibrillation. It's even heavily linked to type 2 diabetes. Sleep apnea isn't some isolated issue. It's a central domino that can topple your entire house of health. And maybe the scariest part of all is what this does to your brain. See, during our deepest sleep, our brain performs this incredible process that's literally like a wash cycle. It clears out all the junk and toxic proteins like amyloid beta, which you've probably heard of because it's linked to Alzheimer's. But when apnea constantly yanks you out of that deep sleep, that cleaning cycle never finishes. And so those toxins just build up night after night after night. Okay, that was all the scary news. But here's where the story takes a turn, because this is the empowering part. This is not a life sentence. Because the problem is often muscular and anatomical, there are things you can do right now to physically change your airway for the better. And that brings us to this concept called mewing. I know, it's a funny name, but it's basically myofunctional therapy. You can think of it as physical therapy for your tongue. It's all about retraining the resting posture of your tongue. By consciously keeping your tongue pressed flat against the roof of your mouth, you're actually training those muscles to keep the back of your throat open even when you're asleep. The whole goal is just to make this your new default posture.
And listen, this isn't just some wacky theory. The expert from our source material actually did this himself, and after only 8 months of this training, a new CT scan showed a real measurable difference. His airway was physically wider, the hyoid bone in his neck had literally moved up and forward. It's just powerful proof that you can reshape your own anatomy by training these muscles.
Now, retraining your posture is a fantastic long-term strategy, but technology is also making it easier than ever to figure out what's happening right now and to manage the problem.
I mean, just look at the old way versus the new way. The traditional sleep study, you go to a lab, they hook you up to like 20 different wires all over your head and your body, and then they tell you to sleep normally in a weird bed. Yeah, right. Now compare that to what's coming out now. Completely non-contact devices that just sit on your nightstand, or even apps on your phone that can monitor you for nights on end in the comfort of your own bed.
But the real leap forward, the really exciting part, isn't just about comfort. The new frontier is about shifting from reacting to a problem to predicting it. This technology is getting smarter, more integrated, and way more proactive.
Just look at what's coming down the pike. We've got millimeter wave radar that can monitor your chest movements from your nightstand without ever touching you. We have smartphone apps that can analyze the very specific sounds of your breathing patterns. But the most incredible one is predictive AI. By analyzing tiny changes in your heart rate, new AI models can predict that you're about to have an apnea event up to 90 seconds before you even stop breathing. That is a total game changer, moving us from a single stressful diagnosis to effortless, continuous health monitor.
So, it all leaves us with this one big question. That feeling of being tired all the time. Is it really just a symptom of a busy life? Or could it be your body's way of telling you that your anatomy, your breathing, and your long-term health are all deeply, deeply connected? Maybe it's time to start listening.